We are 2 weeks away from tomorrow, from the election. We were talking to the kids last night. I think they, my two younger kids, ever since they can remember, there's been campaigns going on. I mean, it's been a non-stop campaign for, 3 years now? And I don't know how to explain to them that there's a chance that, we'll be homeless and President Obama, will be the new fearless leader for the rest of his life. But as we were watching some stuff last night, we were talking about things as a family last night. It dawned on me how this is it. I mean, it's been 4 years, and really we've been on this train since way before John McCain was even around. I mean, well, not around. I mean, it's like Grover Cleveland time. But, I mean, since he was running, we were on this bandwagon on something seriously wrong in Washington with our government and everything else while George Bush was president. Now we have the opportunity to change the landscape of Washington. It's not going to be finished. I mean, I hate to say this, but I'm more of a libertarian progressive. We have to reverse engineer. I don't agree with libertarians who are like, just flush it all down the toilet. Well, I'm so sick of voting for it. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I am too. But what you're suggesting is giving the keys to our government over to Barack Obama, who's transmitted to Vladimir that he'll have more flexibility after the election. It means the end of the United States, to which a lot of libertarians will say, well, that's good because, let it all collapse. No. Name the time in history when a country has collapsed and it was a good thing in the end. Name it. If you think those with power won't use that as an opportunity to seize more power, you're out of your mind. So what do? You vote for the best option out of the two. Oh, yeah, well, we've always been doing that. But America is awake now. Not all of it, but more. And you know what? If you'll have so much credibility, if you are a conservative and Mitt Romney doesn't do the things that he said he's going to do, if we don't behave like the Democrats, if the Democrats would have actually said, hey, wait a minute. You were against war. Why are we sending all these people over there? You were the one who said you were going to cut the deficit in half. What have you done? You've doubled it. If they would have been standing up and saying, wait a minute, this isn't what you said. If they would have stood and said, hey, I am for health care, but not the way you're doing it. This is corrupt. You're doing secret meetings with labor unions. That's not what you promised. They'd have all the credibility in the world. I mean, I've not even considered becoming a Democrat at some point if that's the way they behaved. They didn't. We have. Now, not all of the Republicans. Look, they're not going to give up their power easily. They've worked a long time, and this is the way the system is. And once you get into Washington, you become convinced that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. We've had friends that have gone by the wayside. Well, sucks to be them, doesn't it? So what you have to do is have the same conversation in the country that progressives had with communists around the turn of the century. And that is, look, we agree with your idea of international law. We agree with your idea of big government, subsidies. We agree with all of that. We agree that business is bad. It becomes corrupt and everything else. But you as a communist, you want revolution. We don't. This is where the word progressive comes from. We will progress towards all of those things, make steps little by little. That's what they understood. And that's what conservatives and libertarians haven't come to terms with yet. You can't just turn it off. I think the conservatives are probably a little better than this, but that may be that there's a lot of conservatives that also think that Newt Gingrich is not a progressive. Conservatives can say, okay, I can get into bed here a little bit and have a little more ease. The libertarians, guys, Thomas Paine and George Washington, both patriots, but they both made concessions along the way. They both did what had to be done. And they did it to move it forward because they knew we will lose the country. It's a very fragile thing. And you can't lose it. Progressives understood this. If Mitt Romney wins, we have to stand. We have to be true to our own principles that we said we believed in. Even when it hurts us, when Mitt Romney, hopefully, cuts some of the things that we want. We have to be able to say, as long as it is balanced and we're not just saying it's because, well, that's our favorite program. As long as it's balanced and as long as it doesn't hurt our defense, I'm sorry, that's the way it has to be. And we have to support it. And if he doesn't do it, we have to make sure he does. We have to be in the streets. It's the only chance of having any credibility. Here we are, 2 weeks and 1 day away from making the biggest decision in our country's history. As I said to my kids last night, the next president is going to be as important in history as Abraham Lincoln or George Washington. And, you know, I began to say that a couple of years ago, but there is without a shadow of a doubt that is true. What the next president is facing in geopolitical context alone, and that's what they're going to talk about tonight. Foreign affairs, what he's facing now is 1916 and 1939. How we behave will restructure the entire globe. Will America still even play a role? That is important. Will we be run over by Islamic extremists? Because we won't be able to call evil by its name. We won't be able to say, hey, it's an Islamic extremist. When did that become a bad thing to say? Under this administration, we never had a problem with that until now. That's a problem. Will we have another Abraham Lincoln? You know, it's funny. That's what they tried to make Barack Obama into the last election. They made him into Abraham Lincoln because he wasn't his own man. They didn't know what to do with him. They tried Abraham Lincoln. They tried Theodore Roosevelt. They tried FDR. They tried Jack Kennedy because he's not anybody. He's an empty vessel they were just trying to make into somebody. Mitt Romney is Mitt Romney. Whether he becomes a president that we will remember like Abraham Lincoln or not remains to be seen. But we know that Barack Obama is not going to be the one that will free people. And you will see tonight in foreign policy. I can't imagine how Barack Obama is being prepped for this tonight. I mean, maybe his arrogance is giving him peace of mind. But I can't imagine how he feels comfortable going in tonight because everything that he has believed in, everything that he has done in the Middle East, especially with Libya, Tunisia, Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Iran, all of it has been wrong. He's backed what is he going to say when, say, Mr. President, you backed all of the supporters in Egypt. We now have the New York Times pointing out that the Muslim Brotherhood is bad. And you and your intelligence community says that they were good. They're now calling for the destruction of Israel. We were shipping arms over to Libya. You know it and I know it. That's what Libya was all about. He'll never say that. But we're now shipping arms through Turkey into Syria. We have troops in the borders of Jordan. The whole Middle East is on fire. You thought this was going to be a great Arab Spring. This has destabilized the entire world. What's he going to say other than...
He's going to say, everything you heard Governor Romney just say there is simply not true.
No, I think he's going to...
That's what he's going to say.
I think he's going to say, what would you do? What would you do?
I think he'll deny it's true. He's going to stick to his policies have worked. And our image in America, our America's image is better around the world than it was. I promised to bring back our image. I did. That's what he's going to say.
Even though none of the polling overseas shows that.
Except in places like France where they've gone communist and they like him again. But all of our enemies.
But nobody cares about France.
Hate us more than they did before.
Yeah. If Romney has the stats of the polling, you brought us back? Really? You brought our image back? Mr. President, we're down here, and here. If he can do that?
Yeah.
And I think if Romney's smart, he realizes he has more here, possibly. More here than on the economic front. Because he's got a home run on the economic front. All he needs is one more hit. And this guy's going down.